I found a real heiress in a trash dump. The system told me to raise her, yell at her every day, bully her, and temper her character. I nodded viciously. That's easy. I hate kids the most. 16 years later, I met her family at the school gate. I was wearing flip-flops and holding 2 sticks of starch sausage. Her parents arrived in a luxury car, carrying 16 gifts, from age 1 to 16. The father looked me up and down and said, "You've worked hard all these years." The fake heiress snuggled up to the man and looked timidly at the real heiress. "Sister, please don't drive me away." The real heiress gave them a strange look, then walked straight toward me, snatched the starch sausage, and said, "Dad, you're eating this again?" When I found the real heiress by the trash can, she had just turned 1 month old. She was very thin and weak, her cry as faint as a dying kitten. But as soon as I picked her up, she stopped crying. Those round eyes stared at me, then suddenly curved into crescent moons. I frowned and snorted coldly. "Don't think you can fool me. I'm only raising you for the money." The system was a bit speechless. "Then why are you pinching her face?" I quickly withdrew my hand. Damn, I was fooled. I soon regained my composure. Adhering to the principle of vicious parenting, I bought her the cheapest baby formula at the baby store. But she didn't seem to like it much, her little nose wrinkling, her eyes full of grievance. "So picky, take it or leave it." Yet she reached out her little hand, held my index finger, and shook it. The next morning, I took on an extra part-time job and bought better-tasting formula in the evening. Is this right? If she doesn't drink good formula, she won't grow up. If she doesn't grow up, how can I trade her for money? I tossed and turned, checking her breathing every minute, even searching online if it was normal for babies not to cry. It wasn't until my 6th check that I finally woke her up. "What are you doing?" "Just making sure she won't die." When the little one reached the age of 3, I could finally unleash my vicious nature. Starting today, I pinched her chubby cheeks and whispered like a demon, "You will tie your own shoelaces." Perhaps it was genetic. The real heiress was very smart. She quickly learned to tie her shoelaces, sleep by herself, eat by herself, and even wash her own socks. What kind of abuse is this? My plan had just begun. Next, I would make her learn to mop the floor, cook, do dirty and tiring chores, and become my slave. This direction was right. Unexpectedly, the real heiress was very obedient. She did whatever I asked, but as her strictest father, I wouldn't allow her any mistakes. So after she knocked over the mop water, I crossed my arms and scolded her harshly. "You're so clumsy. When your real parents come, they'll despise you." Tears welled up in her eyes, and she ran into her room crying. I quickly followed, pressing my ear against the door to listen. The crying inside grew softer and softer. I was frantic. What do I do? She might have cried herself unconscious. Not that bad. You're right. I'll wait 5 more minutes. That's right. 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute. Forget it. I'll just go in and see. Before I finished speaking, I had already pushed the door open. The heiress was leaning over the table drawing. I scooped her up, my face stiff as I explained. "I was just kidding. You're so cute. Your parents won't despise you." The drawing showed 2 people, one big and one small. "I don't want anyone else. I want Dad." I was silent. "Dad, don't cry." "I'm not crying." Later I found that scolding her didn't work. Instead, it always made me cry. I bought cross-stitch picture books and forced her to study. What's this again? You don't understand. I'm going to crush her with academics. On the first day, I taught her I, you, he. On the second day, I taught her love, hate, like, dislike. On the third day, she put it all together and like a chirping chick ran after me saying, "I love Dad, I love Dad." I blushed and angrily threw down the picture book. Damn it, it's useless. Before she started elementary school, I needed to register her under my household registration. I realized I hadn't given her a name. I had always called her Little One. This is a key moment. You need to give her a name she'll remember for life, one that makes her struggle painfully. I suggest something universally disliked, like Jiao Di, meaning long for a brother. I thought it over for a night. The next day I confidently registered her and boasted to the system. "I followed your advice and gave her a name she won't like. You finally get it. Your name is Lu Jiyu." I chuckled triumphantly. The little one hated rainy days, so naming her Jiyu, meaning knowing rain, would surely annoy her. "Dad, thank you for giving me your surname." Something felt off. In elementary school, I ordered her to study hard. Lu Jiyu obediently complied and became much more composed. She stopped saying I love Dad all day. She would do chores as soon as she got home, do her homework, and make my bed before sleeping. See, we're definitely growing apart. The vicious parenting plan is progressing well, but I couldn't help sneaking into her room to check on her. One day after school, she bought 2 sticks of starch sausage and walked over. Where did you get the money? Didn't Dad secretly put it in my backpack? That was an accident. Then what about the day before, last week, last month, and the month before that? Besides, this is all junk food. Who said you could eat it? Under her eager gaze, I wolfed down both sausages. 2 hours after getting home, I walked into her room with the starch sausages I had made myself. See? This is what healthy food looks like. Lu Jiyu said nothing, but her eyes sparkled as she ate every last bit. What's this again? I'm just having her test for poison. I left, satisfied. Lu Jiyu was very smart, scoring almost perfect marks every time. But in the final exam of 3rd grade, she only got 98 in English. How could you be so careless? Why did you lose those 2 points? I'm sorry, Dad. I'll pay attention next time. Lu Jiyu lowered her head, apologizing, and silently went into her room. This is working. Before the system finished, I was already staring at Lu Jiyu's back, silently crying. Oh my God, what have I done? Nothing much. A few minutes later, Lu Jiyu came to the kitchen to cook, and saw me crouched in the corner crying. I immediately stood up and wiped my face. Dad, are you crying again? I'm not crying. I was choked by the cooking smoke. Dad, I'll get a perfect score next time. What do you know? I know Dad loves me very much. I stiffly and secretly put my arm around her shoulder. Weren't you supposed to be educating her? Shut up. This is called playing dumb. Once she trusts me, I'll hurt her deeply. But I waited a long time and never got that chance. Instead, Lu Jiyu came home crying. I hadn't seen Lu Jiyu cry in a very long time. As soon as she got home, she laid her head on the table. Jiyu, what's wrong? Tell Dad. Did someone bully you? I paced anxiously several times. After much coaxing, she finally cried and told me. They said I'm not Dad's biological child. Is that all? I sighed in relief. Right. I found you by the trash can. Lu Jiyu was stunned. Really? I often told her she was found in a trash can, but she never thought it was true. Her mouth trembled as if she was about to cry again. So what? Lu Jiyu's brain overloaded, and she stopped crying. Have I been good to you? Yes. And didn't I raise you for all these years? Yes. Does the fact that I'm not your biological father change anything? Lu Jiyu thought hard for a long time. No. Then there you go. This was a difficult question that could have traumatized the real heiress. Ignore that. I have my own rhythm. The next day, when Lu Jiyu went to school, those same annoying boys mocked her again for being an abandoned child. So what? Liu Xiaoho, your clothes are dirty. Your parents don't even teach you to wash them. They must not love you. Zhou Dabo, you're always last in exams. Your parents don't care about you. They must have no hope for you. Song Yaozu, you eat junk food every day. Your parents don't stop you. They must not care about your health. The 3 boys looked at each other, their faces turning red. Anyway, you're an abandoned child. So what? My dad loves me. What do I have to fear? The days passed like this for Lu Jiyu and me. She got into the best middle school and high school in the city with excellent grades. I happily moved with her to a house near the high school. When Lu Jiyu learned that the rent was expensive, she offered to work as a tutor. But I panicked. No. Why not? If you work as a tutor, it will affect your studies. If you don't get into a good university, you won't be able to earn money to support me. That makes sense. I sighed in relief, but then worried that she might take it too seriously and drop out to work to support me. I can support you for a few more years. This is called long-term investment. Lu Jiyu smiled. Thank you, Dad. I took out a new backpack and threw it to her. Found it on the road. Dad, I can still use the old one. I told you to use it, so use it. Why so much talk? Lu Jiyu happily took the backpack. Before leaving for school, she poked her head back in and said, Dad, I want to eat starch sausage. I knew it. That evening, I arrived early at the school gate, with starch sausage, waiting to pick her up from school. An expensive luxury car stopped at the school gate. Amidst the surprised and envious glances of the parents, 4 people got out. The leading couple was well-maintained, dressed in finery. The other 2 were probably a brother and a sister. The sister was pinching her brother's clothes, looking nervous. while the brother glanced around disdainfully, as if he disdained standing with people like us. The system, which had been silent for a long time, suddenly came online. The Shu family has come to pick up the real daughter. I was frozen to the spot. The system had told me that after I raised Lu Jiyu until she was 16, her biological parents would come to take her away. But I didn't expect this day to come so suddenly. I instinctively wanted to step forward, but I looked down at my outfit, flip-flops, a 30 yuan t-shirt, slightly messy hair, holding 2 sticks of starch sausage. It was a stark contrast to Lu Jiyu's family. I pressed my lips together and didn't move. 2 minutes later, high school let out. Lu Jiyu stood across the street, her high ponytail neat and clean, her school uniform sleeves rolled up to reveal her toned forearms. She seemed to have something happy to share with me, her eyes sparkling, eagerly looking around. She knew I would definitely come to pick her up from school. But I couldn't help hiding further back in the crowd. Before Lu Jiyu found me, the Shu family spotted her first. They seemed to have investigated in advance and knew what she looked like. Mrs. Shu stepped forward first, tearfully calling out softly, "Is it you?" "Sorry, Auntie, you've got the wrong person." Shu followed closely, looking Lu Jiyu up and down as he explained, "I am Shu Jiming from the Shu group. Your name is Shu Anan. You are our biological daughter. We're here today to take you home." People around cast glances their way. Lu Jiyu took a deep breath and awkwardly moved aside. Is this some kind of street prank show? I still have to go home and cook for my dad. Can't you find someone else? Mrs. Shu gasped, as if she had heard something terrible. You have to cook at home? Oh, my daughter, what kind of hard life have you been living? Lu Jiyu, who had been maintaining her politeness, darkened her expression at these words. Before she could lose her temper, the girl who looked like a little princess stepped forward. While wiping her tears, she sobbed and bowed to Lu Jiyu. I'm sorry for taking your place all these years, but Mom and Dad have doted on me all this time, and I really don't want to leave them. Could you please not drive me away? As long as you don't drive me away, I'll be your servant. Could you please not? Was it really appropriate to meet the long-lost daughter of the Shu family for the first time so carelessly, especially at a crowded school gate? And letting the fake daughter whine and apologize like that in public? Weren't they considering Lu Jiyu's feelings at all? The system noticed that I was itching to act and reminded me, don't go over. Wait until she comes home, then you'll get the money. I clenched my fists, suppressing my anger, and heard another voice speak. Mingju, you don't have to be so humble. The young man hugged Shu Mingju's shoulders protectively, then blocked Lu Jiyu's way. Is this how you treat your family? I guess he wanted to look down on Lu Jiyu, but Lu Jiyu had been so well nourished over the years that she was as tall as the boy. He could only try to overwhelm her with his presence. Mom and Dad have been looking for you for years. Do you have no conscience or manners? Mingju cried and apologized to you, and you didn't react at all. Are you a cold-blooded animal? Lu Jiyu had had enough. She took a deep breath and shouted towards the security booth. Security uncle, someone is harassing me. Lu Jiyu had a great personality and high emotional intelligence. Teachers, classmates, the canteen auntie, the security uncle, everyone loved her. At her command, the security guard who had been watching the drama immediately brandished his steel fork and charged forward. Back off, back off. The pampered Shu family had never been treated like this before. They tried to explain as they backed away. Lu Jiyu took the opportunity to slip past them. She quickly scanned the crowd, locked onto my position, and hopped toward me like a lively little bird. Seeing the starch sausage in my hand, she put on a disapproving expression. No way, I made these myself. Lu Jiyu squinted, examined the starch sausage carefully, and said with certainty, these are store-bought. The ones you fry always have burnt spots. It's not something to be proud of. Junk food, but I still brought you some. Thanks, Dad. I held her hand and hurried home without looking back. I was afraid that if I looked back, the Shu family would chase after us. On the way, I asked her how her day went. I had a really good day. There's the end-of-term parent-teacher conference. I have a surprise for you. She paused, then said with some frustration, but when school let out, I ran into a bunch of crazy people at the gate. They kept saying my name is Shu Anan. I've heard of the Shu group, but how could I possibly be their daughter? My heart tightened. I cautiously asked, what if you really are? Lu Jiyu suddenly stopped walking. Under my nervous and anxious gaze, she answered seriously, if they really are my family, then I will definitely send them to the best mental hospital for treatment. I couldn't help but laugh. After a moment, I still couldn't resist saying, but they are very rich. Lu Jiyu nodded earnestly. Exactly. I'll send them to the hospital and then donate the money to people who need it more. With their mental state, can they even spend it wisely? It's better to let others spend it for them. I deeply agreed and nodded. Daughter, you're so thoughtful. Lu Jiyu curled her lips. It's because Dad taught me well. We chatted like this, laughing all the way home. But just as we finished cooking dinner, uninvited guests knocked on the door. No need to guess, the Shu family had come calling. I knew this day would come sooner or later. I was about to get up when Lu Jiyu stood up first and said calmly, Dad, I'll get the door. The 4 members of the Shu family stood neatly outside the door. Mrs. Shu, afraid that she would close the door, quickly took out her birth certificate and tearfully grabbed her hand. Ann, it was all a misunderstanding earlier. I am your real mother. Lu Jiyu looked back at me. Then, come in and talk. Lu Jiyu lowered her eyes and stepped aside to let them in. After the earlier drama, the 4 of them were somewhat more distant, but also relatively more normal. This is your older brother, Shu Lingtian, 3 years older than you. Mrs. Shu introduced her family. This is Shu Mingju. She was born 1 hour later than you. Back then, the nanny and I gave birth in the same hospital. The nanny secretly switched our children and then abandoned you. Not long ago, we found out that Mingju is not my biological daughter. We immediately used all our connections to investigate. And we only got your news yesterday. Mom really didn't expect you to be living this kind of life. Mrs. Shu looked at the decor of the room, her crying voice carrying an undisguised disgust. How can anyone live in a place like this? Lu Jiyu's face turned cold. Why can't we live here? In Lu Jiyu's heart, this home was something she and I had decorated bit by bit. In the summer, we sat together in front of a second-hand air conditioner, eating watermelon and enjoying the breeze. In the winter, we huddled on the old sofa with hot water bottles, watching TV together. Ann, what kind of tone is that? Xu Jiming had no patience, especially since Lu Jiyu had disrespected him as a father twice. So disrespectful, knowing no manners at all. You don't seem like a member of the Shu family at all. He immediately slammed the table and glared at Lu Jiyu. Enough nonsense. You're coming back with us right now. Shu Mingju quickly soothed Xu Jiming's back. Dad, don't be angry. Give sister some time to pack. What's worth packing in this dump? Shu Mingju then looked at Lu Jiyu, her voice soft and cajoling. Hurry up and apologize to Dad. Dad has a bad heart. Don't make him angry. Mom and Dad really want you to come home. We've prepared so many gifts. Jewelry, haute couture dresses, all carefully chosen by me. Shu Lingtian chimed in. Mom and Dad and Mingju worked hard to prepare 16 birthday gifts for you. Now it seems like a waste of effort. Lu Jiyu sat to the side and laughed sarcastically at this. I think your family is quite harmonious. The way you play off each other, it doesn't seem like you're missing me at all. My dad and I are doing just fine. You don't need to worry about us. Please leave. This is not something you can decide. Since you are a Shu by blood, we cannot let you grow up outside. The Shu family can afford to raise both Mingju and you. As for your adoptive father, several of them finally deigned to spare me a glance. Xu Jiming's tone carried a hint of danger. We won't treat you unfairly. Mrs. Shu took a card from her bag and placed it on the table, sliding it toward me. This is compensation for you. It's 10 million yuan. Thank you for raising her. There wasn't much gratitude in her eyes, more of a business-like formality, even a hint of disdain. I could tell she was not satisfied with the Lu Jiyu I had raised. She preferred a daughter like Shu Mingju, who was obedient, understanding, and knew how to act sweet and likable. But in my eyes, my Jiyu was the best child in the world. I clenched my fists and was about to explode when I heard the system's voice. Host, don't be foolish. Those are her real parents. And haven't you raised her for 16 years just for this day? When the real daughter goes home, the system will give you another sum of money. Isn't that what you wanted from the beginning? I bit my lip. That was indeed what I had wanted at the beginning. But after all these years, Lu Jiyu had become a part of my life. I couldn't bear to cut her out, just as I couldn't bear to give up my own life. The moment I looked up, my eyes met Lu Jiyu's. She was watching me quietly, waiting for my answer. Those eyes were like a pair of black obsidians, calm yet full of strength, a strength that I had sculpted with 16 years of effort and 16 years of love. I didn't want to give up. Under everyone's watchful eyes, I opened my mouth, but the system reminded me again. Host, have you ever considered things from the child's perspective? The Shu family is large and powerful. If she goes home, she can have anything she wants. If she stays with you, she can only live in a rented apartment, wear cheap clothes, and still have to cook for you, clean, and bear heavy responsibilities at such a young age. If she goes back to the Shu family, she won't have to worry about rent or not being able to afford extracurricular classes. She'll have many people taking care of her. Do you really want to let her suffer hardships with you, just for your own selfishness? I was stunned. Everything the system said made sense, but every time I saw Jiyu, the memories of the past 16 years flashed before my eyes. I couldn't help but argue inwardly. But they aren't good to Jiyu. On their very first meeting, the whole family is already trying to intimidate a 16-year-old girl. I want Jiyu to go home to enjoy happiness, not to suffer in a different place. I tried to convince myself, if I let Jiyu choose, she would definitely choose to live with me. She is only 16 now. How could she know the importance of money and power? But you are an adult. You should know that this is just a necessary path for her. She is the real heiress. She needs to be polished and prove herself through her actions to earn everyone's love. After the hardships, there will be a lifetime of happiness. Do you want her to suffer long-term pain or short-term pain? I fell silent. I couldn't find an excuse to argue against the system. Lu Jiyu's dependence on me was because for 16 years, I was the only family she could rely on. What I had truly given her was very little. And those people in the Shu family who treated her poorly, they just didn't know Jiyu yet. Once they spent time with her, they would surely come to see, just like me, that Jiyu was the best girl in the world. Under Lu Jiyu's gaze, I reached out and silently picked up the bank card. Mrs. Shu was very satisfied with my action, then looked at Jiyu as if to say, "See, she's already abandoned you. You have nowhere else to go." I didn't know how to explain to Lu Jiyu, so I kept my head down. But as I said, Jiyu is a good and understanding child. Without asking anything, she guessed my choice. She stood up, silently went back to her room, and packed her things. 5 minutes later, she walked out carrying her newly bought backpack, taking almost nothing with her. Seeing her so decisive and well-behaved, the Shu couple's expressions softened a little. Mrs. Shu took Jiyu's hand. "Let's go." Shu Mingju seemed surprised that Lu Jiyu was going home so easily. "Sister, it's really great that you can let go of the past." She glanced at me and pretended to speak casually. "But Uncle raised you for 16 years. Aren't you going to say goodbye to him?" Lu Jiyu didn't say anything, but I was already regretting it. Memories rushed back into my mind, making me move uncontrollably. The system screamed in my head. "Don't go over there. Let her go home. Even if you want her to stay, do you have the ability to do that? The Shu family can crush you with a flick of their fingers." "No," I yelled back in my heart. "I actually think she should go back, and I can't make the choice for her. I haven't asked her yet. What does she really want to do?" I grabbed Lu Jiyu's wrist, held up the bank card, and looked nervously into her eyes. "Jiyu, I haven't asked you yet. Do you want to leave? If you don't, Dad would give up everything. Even if the Shu family takes me to court, I don't care." I knew Jiyu definitely didn't want to leave. Her eyes were clearly full of reluctance. But under everyone's uneasy gazes, Lu Jiyu pushed the bank card back into my hand and shook her head. "Uncle, is the money not enough?" I was stunned. Lu Jiyu looked down at my hand holding hers. She didn't pull hers away, only repeated the question. "Is the money not enough?" She then looked at Mrs. Shu. "Mom, Uncle has really been good to me all these years." Mrs. Shu immediately smiled and took out another card, handing it over. "Sorry, I didn't think it through. Here's another 5 million. Take it." I didn't speak, but my heart slowly turned cold. Yes, I had so readily taken the money and let her go. Now putting on this act, what else could it mean besides not having enough money? Seeing no reaction from me, Jiyu pushed this card into my hand as well. I slowly let go of her hand and forced a smile. "Okay, Lu Jiyu, you and I must be happy." Before I finished speaking, Lu Jiyu had already turned and walked out. I immediately ran to the balcony and watched her get into the car. Finally, I couldn't help but run back to the bedroom and cry my heart out. I cried for a full hour before the system dared to speak. "Host, don't cry anymore. You've completed your task. I'll give you another 10 million soon. From now on, you'll be a first-generation rich person." "Shut up," I cried and cursed at her. "Don't you have any feelings at all? Didn't you watch her grow up with your own eyes?" The system was silent for a while, then seemed to make up its mind and tentatively said, "If you really miss Jiyu, I can exchange your reward for a following camera. Whenever you miss her, You can just turn on the camera and see her. My crying stopped abruptly. I sat up like a carp leaping. Shu Mingju, seeing this, pressed her lips together, then suddenly smiled and spoke. Sister must have seen through uncle's true nature to be willing to leave. But sister is really ruthless, able to leave just like that. I really envy sister's courage. Lu Jiyu's calm gaze fell on her face. Shu Mingju felt uncomfortable under her stare, but still had to maintain a smile in front of the family. Lu Jiyu spoke gently. Yes, I saw through uncle's true nature. And I also saw that mom and dad truly came to take me home. It's the same for you, isn't it? Shu Mingju was stunned. What do you mean? Lu Jiyu explained patiently. Aren't you the nanny's daughter? Still living in our house now? It must be because you saw through your biological mother's evil nature and were kindly taken in by mom. But the difference between us is that you chose to leave your biological mother, while I chose to return to my biological mother's side. Lu Jiyu leaned gently against Mrs. Shu's shoulder and smiled brightly at Shu Mingju. So you're even more courageous than me. Looking at the scene before me, I couldn't help but laugh through my tears. She called you evil, and you're still laughing? It doesn't matter. I wiped away my tears, my voice full of pride. As long as Jiyu doesn't lose, so what if I'm evil? From that day on, I opened the camera whenever I was free. At first I worried that after Jiyu went back, she wouldn't be able to protect herself and would be bullied by the whole family. But gradually, I let go of that concern. In the first week home, Shu Mingju cried to Mrs. Shu that Jiyu had stolen something. Jiyu said nothing, just played the footage from the bedroom surveillance she had installed herself, revealing that Shu Mingju had deliberately planted the evidence. A month later, Shu Lingtian complained to Shu Jiming that she had tampered with his important documents. Jiyu silently produced a schedule, showing that for the entire month, she had been helping Dad with his work. Shu Lingtian was severely scolded by Shu Jiming. After several such incidents, the couple grew more and more satisfied with Lu Jiyu. Mrs. Shu even took her hand and said with sympathy, "Both of those children have been spoiled. It's good that you're so understanding. You've worked hard these days." Lu Jiyu obediently shook her head. "It's nothing. We're family. I just hope they won't say things that hurt our feelings anymore." Mrs. Shu was taken aback. During breakfast one morning, Shu Lingtian and Shu Mingju jointly complained that just because Shu Mingju had touched Jiyu's shabby backpack, Jiyu had coldly kicked her out of her room, proving that Jiyu didn't truly want to stay. The couple was understandably suspicious. But Lu Jiyu said softly, "I think whether someone is sincere or not depends not on what they say, but on what they do." The couple stared at her for a while, then Shu Jiming suddenly asked, "Did that surnamed Lu teach you that?" Lu Jiyu didn't deny it. She nodded openly. "Yes, Uncle Lu may be greedy, but he taught me many principles, and it's precisely because of that I can become a better daughter to Mom and Dad. I've let go of the past. I hope my brother and sister can let go of it soon too." The couple exchanged a glance, both seeing appreciation and admiration in each other's eyes. On the other side, I was silently shedding tears. "Are you crying because of his evaluation of you?" I shook my head. I no longer bothered to explain things to the system. In the following days, Lu Jiyu gradually gained Shu Jiming's favor. She learned quickly. Whether it was company matters or interpersonal skills, she handled everything flawlessly. Even projects that Shu Lingtian couldn't manage, she could quickly get up to speed on. Her status in the Shu family continued to rise, until a month later, when Mrs. Shu suddenly fell ill and needed a blood transfusion. Lu Jiyu, who shared the same rare blood type, didn't hesitate to donate blood. On the other end, I was so distressed I cried my eyes out. I secretly bought many supplements, but didn't know how to send them to her, pacing anxiously. Before I could figure out a way, I saw a commotion in the hospital room. The cause was Shu Lingtian messing up a big cooperation deal. As soon as Shu Lingtian entered the hospital room, Shu Jiming pointed at his nose and cursed him for being useless. "I've been teaching you hand in hand for so many years, and you're still worse than An, who just started learning about the family business." Lu Jiyu waved her hand and tried to mediate. "Dad, don't be angry, brother. If it really doesn't work out, let me try." These words were like pouring oil on a fire. Shu Lingtian instantly exploded. "Don't think you're so great. You're just a blood bank. If Mom hadn't gotten sick, we would never have come to get you." After these words, silence fell. Shu Jiming and Mrs. Shu both looked anxiously at Lu Jiyu. Lu Jiu slowly lowered her head. Under everyone's gaze, she began to sob softly. Mrs. Shu quickly grabbed her hand and explained hastily. Don't listen to her nonsense. How could Mom treat you like a blood bank? I didn't know I would get sick. Mrs. Shu wanted to continue defending herself. But when she met Jiyu's eyes, those eyes that saw everything clearly, full of a sense of brokenness, she couldn't say another word. But what no one expected was that in the next moment, Lu Jiu took Mrs. Shu's hand and opened it. In Mrs. Shu's palm lay a small amulet. I knelt before the Buddha and personally made this for you. It took me a whole day and night. Her voice was very soft, but it struck everyone's heart heavily. Mom, you don't need to lie to me. Even if you really see me as a blood bank, I'm still willing to give you my blood, simply because you are my mom. Mrs. Shu was stunned. Then she suddenly hugged Jiu tightly and cried inconsolably. Beside her, Xu Jiming was also deeply moved, turning away to wipe the tears from the corners of his eyes. On the other side, I watched this scene in a daze. Host, this scene is so touching. Why aren't you crying this time? I rubbed my eyes. I can't cry, because I recognize the amulet in Mrs. Shu's hand. That's from the time Jiu and I wanted to set up a stall the year before last. We bought those amulets in bulk online, $9.90 for 10, with free shipping. From then on, Lu Jiu's status in the Shu family rose even higher. Mrs. Shu trusted her and doted on her. Xu Jiming also shifted his focus of training from Xu Lingtian to Lu Jiu. Seeing Jiu thriving in the Shu family, I gradually felt reassured, though looking at the empty house, I still felt occasional loss. Soon it was the end of the semester. I received a group message from the teacher about the parent-teacher conference. Suddenly, I remembered that on the day the Shu family came, Lu Jiu had said she had a surprise for me at the end-of-term parent-teacher conference. I went to school with a hopeful attitude. The homeroom teacher handed me a time capsule. This is what every student buried at the beginning of the school year. I opened it. Inside was a letter written by Lu Jiu herself. The first line of the letter read, Dad, I have a secret. Actually, I know your secret. In recent years, I've often heard you talking to another voice. I didn't want to tell you, because you always praise me in your heart, and I really like listening to it. I don't care what my identity is. I only know that Dad won't abandon me, and that's enough. But recently, I've noticed someone secretly following me. I think I can't stay by Dad's side much longer. But please believe me, Dad. I will definitely find my way back. Just like you found me in the first place. I was completely stunned. He knew about my existence? No, wait. Why is the plot still continuing? The answer to this question soon appeared on the television. News reported that the Shu family was facing an economic crisis. At the critical moment, the family's 16-year-old daughter stepped in and turned the tide. At that moment, both the system and I understood why Lu Jiu had done all this. She had left because she had to. Now, no one could control her anymore. Just then, I received a phone call from Lu Jiu. Dad, I want to come home. I hopped on my electric scooter and rushed toward the villa district, crying and laughing all the way. The system didn't stop me this time, even guiding me with green lights all along the route. From a distance, I saw Lu Jiu standing by the roadside with her suitcase. Mrs. Shu and Xu Jiming were blocking her, refusing to let her leave. Anan, if you leave, what will happen to the Shu family? Xu Jiming had dark circles under his eyes. He now clearly knew that everything had been Lu Jiu's doing. But at this moment, he could only plead humbly for her not to let the Shu family's business be destroyed. Mrs. Shu also trembled as she grabbed her hand. Anan, I won't ask you for blood anymore. Can't you just stay and accompany Mom for the rest of her time? Xu Lingtian and Xu Yingju stood to the side, their faces cycling between pale and green. Lu Jiu saw me. Her dark eyes instantly lit up. I walked through the crowd, took her hand, and left. Stop right there. Mrs. Shu's voice trembled as she screamed. She is my daughter. You can't take her away. I paused in my step and looked back at her. She is your daughter? Then let me ask you. Where was she lost? Mrs. Shu stared at me fiercely. By the trash can in the alley behind First Hospital. Was that a recyclable or non-recyclable trash can? Mrs. Shu was momentarily stunned, then answered, it should have been recyclable. Wrong, it was non-recyclable. I gripped Lu Jiu's hand tighter. Then this is not where you lost her. Then it must have been non-recyclable. I remembered wrong. I nodded. Now you know it's non-recyclable. 16 years ago, I found a tarnished gem by a trash can. She was barely alive, her cry faint. I took her to the hospital for a checkup, and the doctor said she had a rare genetic disorder and a very low survival rate. Later, I raised her. This gem has been washed clean of 1,000 impurities, and now everyone can see her dazzling brilliance. Even the person who originally threw her away has come looking for her. But I have always known that she does not belong to anyone. Even though I was the one who saved her in the beginning, I will never set her into any piece of jewelry. Ji-yu and I went home. This little house, I had bought it. I replaced the creaky wooden floor in the living room and repainted the walls. But Ji-yu's room, I didn't touch. Everything was just as it was when she left. Can you really hear me talking to the system? Lu Ji-yu nodded. My face turned red. So all my inner monologues have been heard every day? Lu Ji-yu laughed. It's only been in recent years. When Dad gets emotional, I can hear it more clearly. Especially that day, when the Shu family came to take me home, I heard your every inner struggle. That day I was almost convinced by the system. Everything the system said made a lot of sense. But there's one thing it got wrong. Although I am only 16, I know the importance of money and power, and precisely because I know, I will never let them become an obstacle between Dad and me. I hugged Lu Ji-yu tightly. My daughter was far more amazing than I had ever realized. She truly was the best child in the world. Later, Lu Ji-yu was admitted to the country's best finance program. I moved near her school. She went to classes during the day and managed the company from home in the evenings. The Shu family members were as quiet as chastened eunuchs. Not long after, Mrs. Shu's illness recurred. But this time, she didn't ask for a blood transfusion from Ji-yu. Instead, she asked to meet her. A person near death, she looked Lu Ji-yu over repeatedly. If I had known you would turn out this well, I wouldn't have abandoned you. I really thought you wouldn't survive. Ann, do you hate me? Lu Ji-yu shook her head. You gave me life, and because of you, I met Dad. Mrs. Shu was stunned for a moment, then laughed with relief. The name Ji-yu really suits you well. After graduation, Lu Ji-yu gradually expanded the Shu family's business, but at the company's peak, she donated half of its shares. She smiled and said to me, "We can't spend it all in this lifetime anyway. Might as well let others spend it for us." In our free time, we traveled the world. When she was busy at the company, I sold starch sausages downstairs from the building. 2 yuan each, not for takeout. Every day I saved one for her, and on the way home, we chatted and ate together. Occasionally, I thought about the system. After all, for 16 years, it had watched Ji-yu grow up alongside me. But after Ji-yu went home, the system disappeared. Until a few years later, the system suddenly appeared in my dream. Transfer some money to this card. Have you switched to fraud? It's all because of you. You and Ji-yu changed my system code. I ended up binding myself to an orphanage director, and now he's out of money, and the children are waiting to eat. I asked curiously, how did Ji-yu and I change you? The system was vague. Only after I pressed it did it show me its operating rules. It said the last rule had appeared suddenly. 1. Ensure the host follows the character setting to develop and grow. 2. Do not take actions beyond the plot. 10. When love appears, all of the above can be ignored, because love is the highest priority.